Ukraine is fighting not just Russia, but North Korea directly, and Ukraine's allies have not responded.
Now that troops are involved, we have to expect that Kim Jong-un is going to be asking for more from Russia in return than he would have received simply for providing artillery, ballistic missiles, and other weapons. So this takes and extends the war both into another country, but also takes and raises the stakes for the United States and its allies.
Was meant to endure heavy shelling collapsed under swarms of smaller strikes. The question is simple. How did machines built to absorb artillery and guided missiles fall to drones the size of backpacks? The operation began not with the tanks, but with a single MTLB reconnaissance carrier sent ahead like bait. It clattered down the path, its crew knowing every eye, and every gun, would be on them first. Ukrainian FPV drones dove one after another, hurling themselves against the steel shell. Each one ripped off armor chunks, crippled small systems, shook its crew, but the vehicle resisted longer than anyone might think. Over 20 direct strikes before the frame finally gave in, detonating with a plume of smoke that curled into the sky. The MTLB was gone. But the real signal wasn't its loss, it was the lesson. If a throwaway machine had taken that much punishment, what lay ahead for the heavier spearhead rolling into the same gauntlet? Here lies the paradox. Tanks are meant to protect through thickness. Infantry carriers are meant to shield by mass. But this battle inverted that entire assumption. Instead of protection, the armor became a prison. Every layer of plating gave drones just one more rigid target locked to predictable trails. There was no surprise at the next bend. The machines could only follow roads, fields, and tree lines, each one already plotted in mind. Rather than breaking through, the weight forced them onto chessboard squares already marked for destruction. The lead T-72 demonstrated it with brutal clarity. Its track ran directly over a buried anti-tank mine set days before.
Ukraine and Russia are exchanging fire on multiple fronts. Bridges are being destroyed, cities are burning, and oil depots are under attack.
All right, in other news, Russia has conducted fresh strikes on Ukraine's Zaporizhia region. Ukraine says Russian forces carried out 567 attacks over the last 24 hours.
At least 7 people were injured in a missile strike, while 2 others were hospitalized, and 23 private homes, 12 apartment buildings, and a post office suffered damage.
The explosion ripped the hull skyward, tore the turret free, and hurled burning fragments across the roadway. In normal doctrine, a single loss at the front might be recovered: tow trucks, repair crews, engineers clearing the path. But not here. As the smoking wreck came to rest, Ukrainian drones descended like vultures. Vehicles braking to avoid the crater became stationary targets, each one quickly picked off by overhead controllers piloting quadcopters straight into exposed hatches and engine decks. What was once a formation fractured into pieces held at the mercy of the sky. The lesson sharpened further in the way mines were used. It was not about the initial kill at all. Mines carved boundaries. One blast blocked the main lane. The survivors, panicked, shifted toward the edge of the road, yet even those routes were pre-sighted. From above, drones didn't simply watch, they directed the entire ambush. Minefields didn't just disable steel, they sculpted the battlefield. Paths narrowed into choke points where every gun and every camera already converged. Survivors were not escaping, they were walking into waiting kill zones designed days earlier with top-down planning. Some tried speed instead of armor. Quad bikes darted out to test openings, engines screaming across the dirt. For a moment, it seemed like agility could succeed where armor had failed. But then the sky erupted with bomblets. Cluster munitions from drones scattered in bursts, each fragment slicing across every moving target. The faster they pushed, the wider the spray cut. What had been meant as survival by speed became slaughter accelerated by pace. Meanwhile, intelligence screens picked up something bigger. Hidden behind the tree line, deeper into the staging area, a larger convoy waited. More armor. More infantry. And more targets. What began as a probing assault now revealed itself as just the point of a heavier mass still in reserve. The scene turned tense as operators realized that everything seen until now might only be the prelude. And here lies the true payoff. Terrain, once neutral, had become a trap shaped by patience. Mines closed lanes. Drones stalked the gaps. Defenses layered so thick that every ton of armor rolled forward not as an asset but as a liability. Ukraine wasn't meeting armor with armor. They were rewriting the rules by making the ground itself hostile and the sky lethal. What once gave states power in numbers now trapped them in cemeteries of burning steel. The stage was set for what came next, the massive onslaught against the convoy waiting in the trees, where drones proved without question that armor mass is obsolete in this war. The battlefield has shifted. Blind armored thrusts no longer decide wars, drones scanning from above now shape every movement below. Steel tracks may still grind forward, but survival depends on what watches from the skies. The measure of power is no longer counted in how many tanks of force can roll out, but in how many aerial eyes can coordinate, strike, and adjust quicker than the enemy. The weight of armor has been replaced by the speed of circuits, sensors, and controllers. Subscribe and join a community that seeks to understand the realities of modern conflict.